Hi, this is Brian Eisenhower. Welcome to the show today. I am excited about today's topic. In particular, we're going to talk about recruiting, and we're going to talk about the different types of recruiting and how, in particular, we can train a recruiting process to maybe a team leader, maybe the sales manager of a team, the lead buyer specialist of a team. It could be your general manager of a real estate brokerage, or you could just be a solo agent that's trying to get started in growing a brokerage and or a team. And once you learn this process, you're going to see the recruiting is tough and it takes some time. But once you create a process around it, through your recruiting efforts, you'll actually be able to find someone, identify somebody with a level of talent that you can then bring on to actually hold these recruiting appointments with and for you. And how do I mean with and for you? So I'm going to start this way first. If you are a team leader or the rainmaker of a team, or you are the broker manager of a team, oftentimes, let's say you already have a sales manager or an operations manager or a general manager or whatever you want to call them. And that person, you'd like them to start recruiting for you. It's pretty normal for them to start recruiting newer licensees, right? Those are pretty easy. Newer licensees are so wonderful. They're so fluffy. They just want to learn. They're not that commission split sensitive. All they want, that's the one time that, you've got someone who actually wants to learn the business. Once they've been in the business for 6 months, they really don't want to learn everything. They're know-it-alls. And now they're just deciding where they want to work, usually just based upon commission splits. But in those 6 months, it's actually recruiting new licensees is extremely easy as compared to recruiting people that are already in production on other teams and or at other brokerages, right? Trying to get someone to leave another organization that is already in production to come to yours is much, much more difficult, okay? The more production, the harder that typically is. So how do we coach and train that? How do we coach and train that? That's the key there. How do we get this person to actually be able to recruit with you so that you as the team leader or you as the broker owner don't always have to recruit producing agents yourself? How do we leverage that? And there is a process for that, right? So the key there is to recruit and focus on the activities first, okay? So let's say that I run the brokerage or I run the team and I'm the one with all the influence. And I've got Rick, and Rick is my general manager. I'm going to teach Rick then. His focus is going to be, yes, I may or may not be ready to let Rick recruit new licensees. But once we start moving into agents that have production, Rick's going to start having problems. Like, I don't have the influence you have. They all just want to meet you. They think they're better than me. I don't know how to sell the commission split difference. They close 20 transactions. How am I going to get them to come to your team? And let's say that I got my agents on a 50-50 split or something. How do I do that? And they get way ahead of themselves. See, I'm not going to let Rick worry about how to get them to join my team, let's say. I am instead going to focus on Rick holding 2 appointments. Can you set and hold the first 2 appointments of our ICC recruiting process? And that's very simple. That first appointment is our needs analysis. And we must know the most important conversation in the entire real estate industry. If you know the needs analysis, you are a golden goose in this business. You must learn how to sit down, ask questions, and learn about the past, present, future motivations, and future pain points of every recruit. And that's all you freaking do in that appointment. You are not talking commission split. You are not offering jobs. You are not asking them to join. You are just learning about the business. Rick can do that because all his objections were, how do I get them to join, et cetera, right? You're going to learn about their business. You're going to learn from them. Then he's going to try to set a second appointment. He's going to use the DISC behavioral assessment to set the second appointment for me. But he's going to attend the second appointment. Okay? So he's going to say, hey, based on what you said, I want to learn a little bit more. Will you take this quick assessment? And you can send them the ICC link. All of our clients have their own. And what they can do is they will take the assessment, tell them it'll take 10 to 15 minutes max. And then I'll sit down with you and go over it with you. And then you're going to sit down, and then you need to take our course on how to validate someone's disc. We have an entire course on the disc, and we have an entire course in the ICC recruiting course on how to use the disc in recruiting. And you're going to show them and teach them at this point things about their own behavior and how it relates to real estate. You're going to tell them how that they can mirror and match with different clients and different customers and different agents, and how they can lead generate based on their different behavioral profiles, and which lead generation techniques are they're more inclined to like and enjoy as opposed to others based upon their profiles. If you can demonstrate, and you'll see that almost no one, I don't care how high of a producer they are, have this degree of knowledge. You all of a sudden Rick will gain influence over them. Lowly old Rick is going to gain influence over these big hitters because he's actually educating on something, and they're learning things about themselves, right? And that's our second. And again, we're not mentioning commission structure. We're not mentioning anything at this point. Okay. We're just staying in conversation, adding value, and listening and learning. Okay. Then what's going to happen is you're going to have this conversation. This is great, man. I really appreciate it. I love to stay in conversation with you. And you're going to wrap that conversation up and not set a third appointment. At that point, Rick's going to come back to me and say, I got a tiger by the tail. Here's their disc report. Here's all their needs that I did for my first appointment. Here's the needs analysis. Time for you to reach out and close this thing. So now I'm going to use my influence because I'm the big team leader. And by this time, when I reach out and say, hey, man, I was talking with Rick and he was telling me a lot about yourself. And, we've got a lot of opportunities for growth and a lot of different ways we can grow and some opportunities for partnership, right? Don't you better? If not, you're not in grow. Aren't you thinking about opening mortgage companies? Aren't you thinking about growing out a buyer side or an ISA division or a listing side? Aren't you thinking about a title company, a property management? Even if it's not now, they're a candidate for a future opportunity sometime down the road. And I want to be in relationship with you now. So when those opportunities do arise, I've got you. I know that you're there. So at the very least, I just want to meet and get to know top talents in the area. So then I'm going to sit down with this. I'm going to set that appointment, and you watch. By the time I sit down with this person, they are going to jump in my freaking lap because they have been teased and teased and teased. They've had just a taste the entire time. And they've done nothing but learn and listen. And now they are very excited to hear my deliverables, right? And I know a lot about them, so we can sit down and start talking. Now, I may have to meet them a couple times, depending on how much they sell. If they sell like 20 units, I might be able to close them right now. If they are a big team or a big brokerage that I'm trying to absorb, I might have to stay with them. But they've seen a process, they've seen a value, and they've seen a lot of interest. So it's not about Rick trying to close them. Rick is going to learn, though, throughout the time. Rick's going to learn very much how to hold those first two appointments, which is everything. That's where most recruiters fail. Most recruiters fail because they try to get impatient and they try to convert too quick. And they think too much about closing before they get into relationship and even learn the motivations and needs. You wouldn't walk into a listing appointment and drop a listing agreement on the table. You'd actually learn their motivation of why they want to sell. That's like sales 101, right? So we have to be so we really hold back what we're trying to get and try to learn and listen and come from curiosity first. You start to get, and over time, Rick is going to start to learn. He's going to start to, and he may sit in with your follow-up apartments and start to learn. He'd start to understand different ways that we can craft commission structures for people that have earned the right through increased production on their own, different ways that we can shape and shift with new job opportunities. Even though we're not ready to open a mortgage company, if I don't have to pay anyone or anything to do it, maybe this person could spearhead it for a percentage of the ownership of the mortgage division. Lots of different ways. That's how you get into growth mindsets. The only way to grow is recruit. The only way to learn about the industry is to recruit. Otherwise, you're going to have a sales manager that just sits around and solves problems on your team and turns into a deal doctor. That's what's going to happen. They're just going to turn around and solve all your agents' problems, fix their tech issues, teach them how to write contracts, and do you're taking a golden goose and you're turning them into a freaking lab mouse. I mean, they're a dime a dozen. I cannot tell you how many of those wonderful deal doctors there are all over this world, but there are so few good recruiters, it's unbelievable. That's the golden goose. It's the highest dollar activity in all of real estate. If you can sit down and learn about needs, stay in conversation until they're ready to move. If you keep holding back your closing, they will come to you more and more and more. You will start to pull them just by staying in conversation. You don't need to have a solution every time. You can try to jointly collaborate with them on that solution. And if you guys are getting into conversations where you're both talking about ways you can work together, trust me, you are about to cross a finish line soon. They are already there. You will start to see after appointment, after the first 2 appointments and maybe 1 or 2 after that, they're already starting to complain about their existing situation. They're starting to find reasons to move ahead of time. They'll start to push you. Some of my highest producing teams, brokerages, and producers that I've recruited over the course of the last 3+ decades have came before I even had a solution. They didn't even know the commission split before they were ready to sign. They didn't even know the structure. I didn't either. I don't know how I'm going to bring in these 300 agents in this brokerage. I have no idea. We're not there yet, but they are so excited to move forward because the process is what recruited them. So you need to trust your process. That is your main deliverable, is staying in conversation and caring about their needs and at least showing an effort to craft an outcome that's in alignment with their needs and goals. It is not about black. If it was just black versus white and it was like 2 + 2 = 4 and, oh, here's what you tell them or here's the tool they need, recruiting would be easy. Recruiting would be easy. But what we need to do differently here is take your time and be patient. So a sales manager can recruit. That's the one thing I will tell you as a team leader or brokerage owner. That's the one thing I will let you not leverage away for a very long time, is sitting down with top producers or large brokerage owners and bringing them in, because those are one-time jobs. They come in and then you make a lot more money going forward thereafter. That is a worthwhile activity. Always. I may want you to get out of taking listings. I may definitely want you getting away from showing buyers and almost any other task associated with transactional work. But I'll tell you right now, I mean, you will move from a monopoly board of playing with houses to playing with hotels instantaneously when you move big chess pieces that bring large numbers of production and large numbers of agents inside your organization. So when we're coaching and training, that's what we're saying. We are always pushing. This should be a portion of every conversation. Then all we're doing is weekly holding our sales managers accountable to those first 2 appointments. How many first appointments did you set and have? How many second follow-up appointments with the disc did you set and have? And then how many were transferred to me? If you do that, the bigger your numbers are, the faster you will grow. It has nothing to do with the real estate market. It has nothing to do with inventory. It has nothing to do with interest rates. Some of our highest producing teams that I've been affiliated with, that I've coached and trained, moved the most from 2007 to 8 to 9 to 2010. They almost doubled their production. Why? It's not because they switched to short sales. It's because they moved people to their organizations. That's why. It's in those down markets that all the agents are hurting. It's the down markets that they all want to change and move someplace else. You are over a school of fish in a down market. Put poles in the water. The more appointments you have, the more agents you will get. That's the one thing you should be doing. Not putting out fires, not setting up systems. You can do those things. You can set up systems and you can perfect things and you can have your other pet projects. You can. And that's good. I like all those things. Only after you show me that you're hitting your numbers. If you're hitting your numbers, you earn the right to do those other activities that aren't in direct alignment with your goals. But we must always stay on those activities that are in direct alignment with our goals, which is increasing production of some sort or net income or agent count or something like that. So we have to be in direct alignment there. That's the idea. That's how we train. And it's a joint effort over time. And pretty soon you will see that Rick will be able to start closing these people on his own, because he's going to follow me. He's going to start shadowing me on some of the follow-up appointments. He's going to start to learn what I'm doing. And I can't tell you how many people out there that are watching this right now that I've actually been through this experience with. And they started to be able to recruit top agents themselves. And it works very, very well. And in the meantime, we never slow down and train and get ready to recruit. We just go. We go together, right? And they watch me. And then we do it together. And then they do it, right? I, we, they. I do it. We do it. They do it. That's the process. So I hope that helps out there. That is how we train and coach recruiting of top agents. Thanks, guys. Can't wait to see you next week.